bother doing that. Remember when, anybody remember the recession and we thought all the patients disappeared? They did for a minute, but I promise you they're back. There are still 10 million, 76 million baby boomers, and now what are they, four more years older. So there's definitely still a demand, and it's stronger than ever. That's not the issue. I think we all know the supply is what's crazy. And by the way, a lot of you think I ask, who's your competitor? Or who seems to be your competitor? A plastic surgeon will say it's the other plastic surgeon down the street. A facial plastic surgeon will say it's the other facial guy down the street. It's so much more than that. It's the nurses running a med spa. It's business people running businesses. It's the OBGYN who's just so sick of insurance that now she offers aesthetic rejuvenation. What you think is your competitor, let's say you think you have 3, you really in real life, from the patient's point of view, you have 30. That's how bad it's got. That's why it's so important to differentiate. So now the patient's in the driver's seat. Anybody notice that? Anyone notice how before it used to be kind of like a one-way conversation, like you did your thing and they said yes or no, not a lot of feedback. Hasn't that changed? Are they negotiating now with you or what? So now, they're not just savvier because they have so much technology and so many answers to the questions at their fingertips, but they're also distracted because they've got all this technology. And what's happening now? Now they're confused. So now you've got an aesthetic patient who's savvier, smugger, like she kind of knows she's in the driver's seat, she's distracted, and she's confused. That's a lot to get through. That's a lot of stuff to get through. So here's what you want to do. The more this patient starts to think of this as a commoditization, then we're all in trouble. Because if we thought it was all about price, that's all we would talk about all day is price. But we know that's not the answer. We know there's more to it than price, but you can't take it lightly. So here's what I would say. Stop commoditization right now. The best thing you can do are things like, no more anybody to everybody is my patient. Do you know how many of you say, when I say, who's your preferred patient? You say anybody. Anybody's fine. You're never going to win the game talking to anybody. You know that saying, if you don't stand for something, I don't know what the saying is, but it's, have you ever watched marketers? Can you imagine if somebody said to you, can you imagine if I said to you, I send you a letter, oh my God, I've got the 5 best secrets for how to get new patients. This is only for facial plastic surgeons, chiropractors, podiatrists, nurses, med spas. Can you imagine? I would be talking to nobody. So I think instead of going anybody and everybody is your patient, it's all about targeting nowadays. So keep that in mind as I go along. It's offering these Me Too services. You have got to get out of this Me Too business. You know, one pearl is services that you offer, combine them, make your own signature treatment, and you just pulled yourself out of the fray of the Me Too. Making those same vague promises. Do you know how many websites and how much of your materials talk about your quality of care, how much you care about the patient, and how great the result's going to be? Everybody says that. You got it. It's not time to be vague anymore. You've got to be a lot more specific about that. Just, you know what my pearl would be? Whatever everyone else is doing, do something else. Just do something else so you're even heard. Because now the patient's savvier with technology, distracted, confused, and they're skeptical. Because they have been pummeled with information, pummeled with choices. So how many of those, have you ever seen those kind of patients? The ones with the 11s going, the frown lines? She is literally, when you're talking to a female patient who looks like that, she's saying to herself, can you really help me? Are you really the best choice? Not just are you a good choice, are you the best choice? That's a very big question in his or her mind. And am I going to be happy with the result? Half of this is not just saying yes to what you have to offer, but she's also trying not to regret what you have to offer. So, you know, have we all done this? You've made a buying decision and you go, God, why did I do that? And you feel that remorse? That's what happens. So she's trying to avoid that. I say she, he, she, whatever. They're trying to avoid that. So not only are you trying to get them to say yes, or, you know, say yes to your services, you're trying to take away the regret that they may feel. That's a lot to do in a consultation. So you actually have a lot more control over this than you know. I'm going to talk a little bit about how to differentiate and take back control. And we'll see what you think about this. PR is the greatest thing ever invented, isn't it? How great is it to get on a TV show, your phone starts ringing, anybody in the room have some really good PR? And the phone's great, life's great. Two people, yeah, life's great. But here's the deal, because it's a great differentiator, but it doesn't just happen. I mean, people are spending thousands of dollars a month to make that happen, because you know what you're buying? You're buying somebody who has a Rolodex that knows people in the media, right? So you either take the time to figure this out yourself and develop PR relationships, or you give somebody else a whole lot of money with no guarantees and hope they have that Rolodex that they promised that they have. But here's the other deal. So it takes time and money, and it also takes you, because for PR, you are the subject. But here's what a bigger issue is with PR. It's terrific if you can get it. But think about it. It's fleeting. Because you're only as good as, how long does PR last nowadays? We have attention spans of gnats. I mean, people will see you, think about calling, forget to call, and if they don't keep seeing you repetitively, that kind of didn't help. So anybody remember Paris Hilton? What the heck happened to her? Kim Kardashian stumped her, didn't she? And now there'll be another Kim Kardashian somewhere along, and Paris Hilton. It's just fleeting. So it's a great gig if you can get it, but you know, is it the best? Maybe not. You can also be seen with celebrities. I used to say be friends with celebrities. No need to be friends, just be seen with one. By the way, I realize I should be fined by the fashion police. I don't know what possessed me to wear that shirt. And I can't even say I was young and naive. That was not that long ago. So, excuse my fashion faux pas. But does everyone know who this is? Joan Rivers. Did I need a picture with Joan Rivers being in the business we're in? I have to tell you, Joan Rivers, whatever you think about her, I thought she looked fantastic. Do you know she's 77 years old? She's about 3 feet tall. I am literally down here trying to get the picture so I can even get in the frame, and she was lovely. She works her butt off, by the way. That woman works. So that's just a side issue, but patients, are we obsessed? Are your patients obsessed about celebrities? Aren't we all? So I would get anytime you're in front of a celebrity, I don't care where you are. Heck, Elvis, maybe Elvis not out here, but you know, maybe there's some celebrity walking by. Try to get the photos and put them on your websites. It's called transference of credibility. So if I like a celebrity and I see you with a celebrity, I transfer, oh, now I like you too. Write your own book. Who here has written their own book? Other than me. Holy cow. Big project, big project. You know what I would do if I were you? Because I'm not going to do it. I wrote a book for a cosmetic dermatologist. I'm never going to do it again. It was just time consuming. It's not my business. But you know what I would do if you're interested? Grab your tape recorder. Do they still call them tape recorders? Or whatever they call them, iPhones, whatever. And start taping patient consultations for each of your procedures. And then start taping your patients who had that procedure, get their story. Take all that information, have somebody transcribe it, and give it to a ghostwriter on Craigslist. And let him or her try to write your book for you. Huh? If you're interested. But I gotta tell you though, the book will pull you out of the fray. Because I get to say I'm an author. You could say you're an author. That there's something to be said for that, if you're trying to not be like everybody else. What do you have that nobody else has? Your personality. Nobody's like you, right? You're the most unique person on the planet. Even your twin isn't like you completely. So use your personality in today's world. If you stay one-dimensional, that's all the aesthetic patients are going to see, this one-dimensional. And that's when it starts feeling like, you look like you, everyone looks the same. The more personality you can put into your marketing materials, the better off you're going to be. So, of course you want to use your credentials, your associations, that kind of thing, but start adding the secret sauce. And the secret sauce is your promotion or pro bono. A lot of you have very interesting stories that you're not sharing. Storytelling is the #1 way to differentiate yourself and make you a multi-dimensional personality. Patients, and think about this. Think about if I tell you a story. God, I wish I told you a story. That would have been a perfect setup. And now you would remember me forever. Or like, let's say I told you about my dog. Have all of you seen my dog in my marketing? Nobody's following my, okay, all right, let's follow me. I know, nobody needs any marketing, I know. but I do have my dog. The best email I ever sent out in my 12 years in the industry, my dog and me in a sled at Christmas time. Doctors were like, like email me, hey, what kind of dog is that? Hey, is that a Wheaten Terrier? Because it has the gray beard. You know, Wheaten Terriers are great, so cute. And I thought, oh my God, I'm onto something here. Dogs, you know. By the way, you want to do a dog who likes dogs more or cats more? Just for who likes cats more than dogs? Oh my God. Either nobody likes cats or you're definitely not going to talk to me. All right, who likes dogs better than cats? Isn't that amazing? Look around the room. 80% of us, and guess what? There are more cats in the home than there are dogs in the home. How do you explain that? Signage. Now I'm going to do, this is what everyone else does, and this is you being different. When somebody calls your office, now you got your phones fixed, right? Thanks to Kathy and everyone else. And you're going to send out your shock and awe information patient packet. Everyone else, guess what everyone else sends? They're, well, first, everyone says, go to my website. Wow, is that dismissive? Go to my website, or they stick the Medical Society brochure in the envelope. Have you all done that? If you're a patient shopping, and some of them are doing this, they're calling everybody trying to get the information to come to them. That's one way to do it, but that's not being different. Everybody's got the Medical Society brochure. When you're different, you send your shock and awe package. And it arrives really cool, really lumpy, really bulky, and it's got all sorts of things in there. It's got your Meet the Doctor, your multi-dimensional piece. It's got your book, in case you happen to have a book, consumer awareness reports, a DVD of you welcoming them to your practice, all sorts of videos with your patients. If you have a line, a skincare line, you add some product samples. And I'll tell you what, there's a plastic surgeon, I won't name who it is, but he's very well known. He charges $500 for a consultation. If you call him for a consultation, the next day you get a FedEx box. A box. It's impressive. It's a box, and it's FedEx. I'm like, whoa, what's this? And he's got in that box his shock and awe everything, but it's done in such a storytelling kind of way. Have you ever seen that AMX travel catalog, and it's high-end and it's glossy? This book that he's got in here, it's about 1 inch thick, and it's got his story. The story's compelling. It's about a childhood adversity and why he's a plastic surgeon now. That's a good hook. If you can somehow, especially women, we love stories about adversity and philanthropy. So if you could somehow say, I had some childhood, and we love rags to riches, don't we? So if you could somehow come from dirt, and now you are this because of whatever the story is. Very, very compelling. I'll tell you what, that just pulled him right out of the ranks of everyone else. And now I'm okay spending $500 for a consultation versus free. That's how to do it. And by the way, he's not doing product samples. He gives you a full-blown products of his whole line. Oh, that's good. Social proof. While everybody else has their couple of photos, and I know you're all going to get around to doing your photos someday. I know you are. Someday. Well, what happens is, that's what everybody does. Everybody has their few photos. A lot of them, the guy's got a mullet, and the woman's got a bun. Like, you haven't redone your photos in decades. And the jewelry's all old. That's what everyone else would do. When you're being different, you don't just have one album, you have 5 albums. You just pack that up. In my book, I asked them how important was social proof. It was all about quantity rather than quality. So when it gets to social proof, more the merrier, and load it on. Also, you don't just say, our patients love us. You have albums that say what our patients say about us. And when they open it, it's all the emails, it's all the handwritten thank you notes. It's that patient talking to the patient about how great you are in their own words. And video testimonials, I mean, video is just it. So as much interaction as you can get going. When you're educating the patient, most of you are still going to use those same couple photos, right? You're just going to use the same couple photos. Oh yeah, this is what you could look like. No, you being different, load it up. Skincare analysis, computer imaging. How many in the room, look around, use computer imaging during a consultation? Okay, and if you're all talking to me, maybe there's 10% of you. Only 10% will pull themselves out of the fray, because if I'm going on 5 different consultations and only one person does a computer imaging, already you're standing out as different, right? Think about the patient's point of view. She or he is trying to figure out Who is the choice? And there were 30 of them standing in front of him or her. Also, get good at this technology, as I just showed a good example of it. Use the iPads. The iPads are cool. They are cool. Patients are liking them. Any kind of video stuff. And if everyone else is doing photos, you do digital photo frames, right? Just do anything somebody else is not doing. By the way, have any of you ever done a mystery shopping call of your own to your competitor's office? Great idea, by the way. I highly recommend. Wasn't that a wealth of information? Well, go check out your competitors. Go see how they're handling things. It's a great idea. Some more high tech. I know there was mobile marketing. Did you happen to see 98% of you had a smartphone? Mobile marketing has taken over the world, and that's where we're heading. By the way, just as a segue, a lot of you have the old type of websites that are CSS, HTML, that's ugly coding kind of website. Do you know most of those can't handle an iPhone? Have you ever looked down your smartphone? Not now, because I'm talking, but when I'm not talking, go check out and make sure your website shows on your mobile phone. A doctor said, can you go check mine out? And I said, I can't even see it, because he's not mobile friendly, so that's important. But if you're gonna get into QR codes, those are really new right now, so if you wanna be different, try to jump on the bandwagon much sooner than everybody else. And QR codes, I think they're really cool. The problem is nobody's sure exactly what to do with them yet. It's kind of still new, but if you get good at it, did you know you can make your own stamps? How cool is that? Do you know you can have, put them in your ads? Do you know you can have a big billboard with a QR code? You know what I would do if I was I personally don't appreciate billboards. I would test that. I'm not sure about the caliber of people who are driving by, oh yeah, I should go do that. I'm just not sure about that, but you know what I would do? Got fat? I have a big QR code. But then you know what I would do? No, I wouldn't have them go to the home page. I would send them to a special page, and it's a video welcoming you to their practice, because they're saying, okay, I saw your billboard, but who are you? It's way more compelling when they QR code, boom, on your mobile phone, there you are, you're giving a tour of your office, meet the staff, and come on in for a consultation. That's different. In-house signage, rather than use every vendor's, you do know a lot of your practices are starting to look like a drugstore, right? You've got all this vendor crap, paper. It's a lot of paper going on, it's feeling a little salesy, a little cluttered, but they give it to you for free, right? Well, be different. Have your own customized menu of services. I love these. Do you know the box frames, the canvas box frames? It's tasteful, it's pretty, it's eye-catching, and it's question-provoking. The other stuff is feeling like, I shouldn't say it. It's just, I would stay higher end and do it differently than everyone else. Now, while everyone went to the internet because it's cheaper, and everyone's just sending out email marketing, and they're calling that their marketing campaign, that's how they market patients, really. Email marketing. So this is what I did. While everyone's on the internet, you go back to the mailbox. Go to the mailbox. You cannot have any more one-on-one time as you can have in a mailbox. Think about that. And then you're gonna say, what? Like we do, no promotion. Do greeting cards. But go the extra step. It's a greeting card, use a handwritten font, use a stamp, make it heartfelt. That, you can't buy that kind of one-on-one heartfelt time with a patient, other than you're in front of them face to face. You know, that's how to do it. Be different by showing that you care, you're willing to spend the money and the time and the effort reaching out to a patient the way they want to connect with you. The patient loyalty. While everybody went to a vendor program, I'm not going to say, oh yes I am going to say, I'm sorry, I did say, didn't I? Here's the problem, and I love vendors, I think they're terrific. Here's one of the issues with this. As the patient, I'll tell you a story. Here's my story. I go to, I'm going to give a talk, and I need a little face fill-up, right? I'm looking a little long on the tooth, and I go to this particular cosmetic dermatologist for a very specific reason. She is so gentle, I never get bruise or swelling. That's a pearl, by the way. If you're heavy-handed, you might want to think about that, because I needed to show up at this meeting not looking like a boxer, you know? So I went to her, and I didn't do I paid full. I paid $1,600. I get to the checkout. Everything's great, love her, it's a love fest. We get to the checkout, and she says, do you have your this? And I said, I don't even know what and I know about it, of course, I'm in the industry, but I said, oh, no, I don't have that. And she said, oh, but you want it. And I said, oh, you know what, I'm in a big hurry, it doesn't matter. Oh, no, you want it. So now she's got 2 staff people at the computer trying to find my password, right? And now we got to go find my email, and I'm like, are you kidding me? So let me just say, that program could be more for the doctor than for the patient. That hurt everything. It skewed it because I was like, why are we doing this? I don't even want the $50. I was just happy. Do you know what I mean? Just, when everyone's doing something, just make sure it's still good for the patient. That's all I'm saying. But what I would do to develop patient loyalty, do your aesthetic advisory board. Does everyone have one? I'm sure you probably don't have one. But this is how I would develop it. You know that 80-20 rule that we're always going to keep talking about? 80% of your revenues are going to come from 20% of your patients. It's just a fact of life in everything. So why not develop your own board? You know how corporations have their board of advisors? You have your own board of advisors. Decide on how many there are. I would keep the group small, maybe 50 patients, and I mean hand-picked patients. Those kind of patients who give you a lot of money, love you, love your staff, easy to work with, not moaning and complaining about price, those kind of patients. Ones that are highly attuned to the community, they have their own Rolodexes, they become part of your board. You meet once or twice a year at a restaurant, high-end restaurant, it's all very relaxed. You give a small talk on what's happening in your practice, and then you open it up, and you say, you know what? I've invited you here for a very special reason. You are that kind of patient. I love having you as a patient, and I would love having more patients just like you. And now let them talk. Let them help you grow your practice organically. Amazing, the ideas and the brainstorming that comes out of that. Reception area. Rather than have a usual boring reception area, have a really cool reception area with a fireplace and a massage chair. That's pretty neat, huh? Especially aesthetic patients. They're frazzled, they can afford it typically because they work their butts off, you know, so they work a lot. So this could be the one little safe haven they have for a while. I think it's a great idea. I'm such a sucker for massage chairs. I think it's a great idea. And while you're at it, don't just have a receptionist like that kind, the silly little girl who's getting $10 an hour. Have a real receptionist. And she's got an accent. Bonjour. Isn't it a great idea? And you know where I got that from? You know, I call a lot of offices. Okay, maybe she doesn't say bonjour, and she looks like a helicopter pilot. I went to Google Images and I went French receptionist, and that's what I came up with. But you know what would be nice? I call a lot of offices, and there was a woman with an English accent. And I thought, oh my God, that's brilliant, because it was I was so not ready to hear that, and she was just lovely, so I highly recommend it. So it doesn't have to be French, it could be English or Australian or Texas, you know, however you want to go with that, or Chicago. I wouldn't go to Chicago, it's not good. Now, this is out of the box, but hang with me on this one. To be different, nobody does this. This would be different. Offer a guarantee. Because one of the issues is we're back to, I don't want to regret this. So here's what you do. You say, and this is not a mass advertise anything. You're not mass advertising anything. This is when you're at the consultation. We're talking big ticket items here. You know they're hesitating. You can see it. One of the biggest reasons they're hesitating is we're back to those questions. Am I going to regret this? Are you the best choice? A really great way to handle that is to say, we do offer a no-risk policy. So just hang with me for a minute. And then decide what that is to you. Decide if that means, if you were not completely happy, we will do something. You either do, and put tight controls around it. Maybe you will go do a revision for free, or maybe for this much money, you'll fix whatever they're not happy with. Here's what's going to happen. Now these are patients inside, not mass advertising, because then you're going to get the weirdos, the weirdos. You're going to promote and get a lot more yeses with this strategy than if you hadn't done it. And now my next strategy here is, you're usually going to do it anyway, aren't you? When somebody's unhappy with their result, especially the irate unhappy, what do you end up doing? You usually like end up giving them their money back and hoping they leave, or you do something for them, right? So the psychology is just do it up front now, set it, and that could have been just the hump they needed to get over to say, okay, I'm more comfortable now. Is that a crazy idea? Is anyone doing that? Look at, no. All right, I see one hand. Can you imagine? If only one person, no one is doing it. That could totally change the game for you. By the way, I do it in my own business, and I learned from, I'm walking my talk. It's not easy to get any of you to say yes to anything we try to sell. It's not easy to get anybody to say yes anymore, is it? Because we're all so skeptical. We're all wondering, I don't know, is this any good? So I always offer a money-back guarantee. My sales tripled when I started doing that. And you know how many returns I've gotten? One. That's pretty good. All right, back to website things. This is a riot. Does everybody use these same graphic people? First of all, here's my problem with that. These women are 20 years old. They've never had a pimple or a wrinkle to save their lives, so I already don't like them. And everybody uses them. I think every graphic designer seems to have this little Facebook pool that says, hey, use these graphics. So what I would say is, rather than use this, use actual patients. Wouldn't that be a much better idea? And here's what I would do. Use actual patients. When they scroll over it, they can click to a landing page, and it's the patient's story. And you know what a patient's story is? Video, heartfelt, also in writing if you can't get video. The pain I was in, why I was searching, why I chose Dr. Smith is probably why you're going to choose Dr. Smith, psychology there, what he or she did for me, the doctor, and how great I feel about me now. That's a good testimonial, and it's a story. And the other patients will relate much more to the story. Isn't that a good idea? Do any of you use actual patients in your marketing on your homepage? Okay, we've got 5, 10. I'll give you 10 out of the room. So that right there differentiates you. Here's another. This is a little more image marketing. On your website, you have your navigation bar. Everyone's navigation bar is exactly the same. It's home, about us, procedure, it's all the same. You're going to add 2 new tabs. One of them's called For Out-of-Town Guests, and the other one's called For the Media. And in the For the Media, any promo, any PR, any media you have ever had goes in there. A video of you, and it could be perceived that you now work with the media a lot. The patients will go, wow, he or she works with the media. And also out-of-town guests, it's perception. You might get 1 a year, but it's out-of-town guests, so it's perception. I would also go another step. When somebody looks at the out-of-town guests, you know what I often see? You have all these hotel accommodations. No, be the concierge. Set the whole thing up for them, right? Set the whole thing up for them. Carte blanche, like just one phone call, taken care of. That's different. And when you say thank you, everybody says thanks. But you be different. You, thank you for your trust. Here's your photo cards, greeting card, handwritten note. You add a gift certificate, come on back. You add, send them flowers. Flowers are great. I send a lot of flowers out because it's so impactful. And I would get good friends with, what's it called? I personally use teleflora.com because they have the cool new flowers. Have you guys noticed how outdated flower arrangements have gotten, like on FTC or FTD or whatever it's called? You know how they do those old, like your grandmother's flowers, The flowers have come really far now. They have these cool vases, like circular. They put leaves around them, and then they have little bowls. Oh, they're just gorgeous. And they're like $30. That would differentiate you over everybody else. And just constantly, thank you, merci beaucoup, that's my French, and gracias. Anything you can do to say thank you bigger than somebody else, that's a differentiator. So in conclusion, you want to be where others are not. You want to do what others are not doing, and you want to attract patients others are ignoring. So that's it. I don't know what time it is, sir, young man. Am I done, or do I have?